It is our traditions, ceremonies, and rituals. Each small detail carries a deep layer of our ancestors' wisdom. It is our pride, our treasure, our national encyclopedia. Let's turn the pages of this encyclopedia together.
Anyone who gets familiar with the Kazakh culture can notice one feature of our mentality. It's about the endless love of our native land. Many researchers are sure that this love was born at times of the first nomads. Sensitive attitude towards nature can be seen in some Kazakh rituals, which are still performed by the Kazakhs. The Kazakhs have long been breeding horses, drinking Kumys, and eating horse meat. The end of winter for the nomads was a particularly difficult period. Livestock and people themselves became weakened because of severe frost. People pinned their hopes on spring, the first grass and warmness that came with spring. In auls or villages, they used to say, "Soon the mares will foal, the fowls will get on feet and will drink Kumys, will be healthy, and everything will be fine with us." In early to mid of May, the mares foaled, and people started preparations for the special event in the aul, Kumys Murundik. In some regions of Kazakhstan, the festival of Kumys Murundik is called differently. For example, in central Kazakhstan and region of Sarayarka, it is called Biye Bao, and Biye Murundik in the east, Biye Bailao, and in the west and Simireche region it is called Kumys Murundik. An important part of the festival of Kumys is the rite called Biye Bailao. In translation, it means to tie the mare. It is, in some sense, a dedication to the cult of fertility. Each action was accompanied by various benevolent rituals to get the assistance of nature. The rite, Biye Bailao, also has a practical meaning. It is possible to milk the mares only after separating fowls from them.
Енді ақсақалдар, ауылдың адамдары сондай үлкен немен қарайды, жауапкершілікпенен. Біз мына бие байлауды қай жерде өткізіп?
Aksakals, male elders, the people of aul responsibly chose the place where the rite Biye Bailao would be performed.
Кімдер қағат деп содан келісіп алады да, содан кейін сол бір жайма шуақ май айының бір күні.
They discussed who would participate, who would stick a stake for mesh. And after agreeing on everything, they used to go to the outskirts of the aul on one of the sunny days of May. They came to the place where the grass was growing, and one of Aksakals tied a white cloth to the wooden mallet, and thus stuck the first stake for mesh. Then, having connected the stakes every 5 meters, an halter was put on the fowls. The halter was made short, otherwise the fowl could get entangled and could die of this. The strong guys held the fowls and then they were tied. After Biye Bailao, women and men gathered there with dishes in their hands. Aksakal smeared butter on his head of the stallion and on the tail of the mare. Sometimes people used to tie white cloth to the tail of the mare.
Тамақтары бар, шай, соны алып жаңағы көгалдың басына келеді. Көгалдың басына келгенде жаңағы ақсақал адам сол сармайдан айғырдың кекіліне, содан кейін ана биенің құйрығына жағатын сармайды. Сосын кейде биенің құйрығына да былай ақ шүберек байлайтын.
The ethnographic materials show the reason why the Kazakhs used white cloth and butter during this rite. White color personified a bright beginning and good thoughts, and butter was used with wish to increase the horse's offspring. Biye Bailao and Kumys Murundik are real heritage that was left by our ancestors. The fact is that before the revolution, there were 8 to 9 million horses in our steppes. According to the census of 1928, the number of horses decreased to 5 million. But the years of the famine and forced collectivization made the Kazakhs struggle to survive. And they almost have forgotten the festival of Kumys. There was significant damage to the livestock. By the mid-30s of the last century, there were only 300,000 horses left. Therefore, the restoration of horse breeding and associated traditional rituals are particularly important nowadays. After breeding the fowls, there is another rite, the first milking. 3 mares can give about 1.5 liters of milk. It is poured into the dishes called kubi, where they put leaven. This is repeated after each milking until kubi is filled. Then the drink should rest for some time. Milk was whipped with the help of a special stick, usually by daughters-in-law and children. Later, this action became a symbolic ritual for every guest during the festival of Kumys. First, the most respected people whipped milk. Earlier, there was sabah, big leather bottle with Kumys at the entrance to the house, and while entering, every guest whipped drink 2 to 3 times, and some of them used to tie white cloth to the stick, thus showing the purity of his or her intention and heart. In Kazakh mythology, Kumys is considered a sacred gift of mare. It was forbidden to spill the remains of Kumys out on the ground. Everyone believed that it was a bad sign and could lead to the death of the fowl, to the quarrel in family, or even to the tragedy. If there was enough of Kumys on the eve of the forthcoming nomadic migration, the Kazakhs could perform such ritual. They used to pray and ask for forgiveness, and then pour Kumys at the middle of the herd. The first tasting of Kumys is a special event for the entire aul. Some people remember that later the rite Kumys Murundik could be performed once again when guests came. It is noteworthy that the attributes of folk toy celebrations have a dignified position in the ethnographic collections of many museums. There is a remarkable tradition which is typical for the Kazakhs. When Kumys season begins, the rite of Kumys Murundik is performed. That is, a celebration where women, men, and elders participate. It is the first tasting of Kumys. This celebration soon becomes activity of everyday life, because people drink Kumys every day during some time. And during this rite, these utensils are used. Buita is a kitchen utensil. Ojao, ladle, made of the horn of Adgali.
Быта – это кухонная утварь, это ожау, изготовленный из рога архара.
During the festive tasting, first the most respected person takes and tries Kumys. Most often, the elderly women, grandmothers, taste Kumys first. They say blessings and these wishes of the mothers of the family are especially valuable in rituals dedicated to the cult of fertility. This festival of the first tasting, people invite neighbors and visit neighbors to drink fresh Kumys every day. Some of the wishes that Aksakals once expressed are still used during celebrations.
Çay içkенен кейін сол жерде жаңағы енді бата беріледі. Сол бата берілгенде сол мына қамбар атадан бастайды.
After the tea parties, Aksakals used to tell bata, blessings, and they used to begin with Kambar Ata. He is the first herdsman, deity, patron of horses. It is mentioned in the epic Kablandi Batir. Before the spread of Islam in the steppe, Kambar was considered one of the major deities of the Kazakhs. When Kablandi Batir was leaving the aul to face his enemies, Aksakals used to say, "The Lord of the lands, Kambar, the Lord of water, Kambar, the Lord of sky, Kambar, bless Kamblandi. Please take care of him." They say bata and express good wishes and ask for support. Kambar Ata, may our horses be well fed. May milk, Kumys, and dairy products be abundant. And may our health be strong. Today, only researchers of the history of the Turkic people know one ritual which is not performed anymore. Once the nomads used to carry a flag and sprinkle it with Kumys before the decisive battle. The flag was raised above, and this ritual nourished the spirit of the soldiers and symbolized the greatness and power of people. Previously, the festival of Kumys tasting, in which several auls took part, was a kind of contest and entertaining event. Aksakals used to visit every yurt. Kilins, daughters-in-law, smoothly shook the national drink and elegantly poured it into the most beautiful dishes. The guests drank and evaluated its taste, atmosphere in the house, and then they used to tell everyone that the best Kumys was in this or that family from this or that aul. We can only assume about the existence of similar feasts of Kumys that existed during Scythian times, for example. In the 5th century BC, the father of the history, Herodotus, wrote that the ancient nomads drank mare's milk. Remains of Kumys were found on dishes during the excavation works on Boltai, a settlement of the Bronze Age which was discovered in central Kazakhstan. Approximately 5,500 years ago, people tamed a horse for the first time. The European media mentioned about Kumys for the first time at the end of the 19th century. Traditional drink the nomads became popular when patients of the resorts got their treatment, which consisted of drinking large quantities of Kumys. The taste of this drink is influenced by such factors as the season, types of herbs on the summer pasture, zhailao, and methods of preparation. In the way the Kazakh masters carefully treated natural materials, one can trace called eco-friendly strategy.
Что интересно, вся посуда казахов изготовлена из крайне экологически чистых материалов. Это дерево, кость, кожа.
The remarkable thing is that all dishes of the Kazakhs are made of eco-friendly materials: wood, bone, leather, and silver.
Обладали таким свойством, что здесь не заводились личинки. В этих емкостях.
These materials have such features that insect larvae did not appear here. Products did not go bad in such dishes because there was a certain procedure for processing wood. For example, while manufacturing of tostagans, special dish for Kumys, and bottles for Kumys, leather and wood were impregnated with horse fat in several stages. Dried over the smoke of the fire, thus the aftertaste of soot from the fire gave Kumys some specific taste with time. Many know that the longer Kumys is kept, the more delicious its taste becomes. Kumys was kept in such dishes. This is a dish called torsik. Its capacity is up to 3 liters. A dish with bigger capacity is called sabah. We have one of them in our museum. It was usually used as a gift. For example, at the time of weddings, celebrations, the representatives of one aul show their hospitality to representatives of another aul by gifting Kumys. These dishes were used to transport Kumys. The dishes had different capacities. It depended on the master who made the dish, because the technology is extremely complex. It's very difficult to make a dish where, let's say, the technique of sewing is used so that Kumys does not leak. Leather utensils were a kind of refrigerator and could withstand any temperature changes. Thus, the Kazakhs could keep Kumys and shubat, camel's milk, for a long time. The tradition of leather crafts has been passed on from generation to generation, and it is still preserved in some regions of Kazakhstan. Kumys Murundik came to the end in autumn when milking of mares was completed. The Kazakhs used to say, "Today we will tie the mare for the last time in this year. We'll milk her and let the fowls go to the pasture. So come to drink the latest Kumys of this year."
The Kazakh village does not exist in the way it used to be, and there are no nomads, wandering people. But most of prairie folkways and traditions still surround us. We follow them, but we not always know what they mean. Bahit Kairbekov, poet.